If you've owned a cat for even a very short time, you've likely come to discover that felines have some very interesting and unique habits, unique behaviors, unique traits. And in today's topic, we'll talk about one, head shaking while eating, head shaking while chewing. Granted, not all cats do this during every meal and every meal time, but some do, and some do it quite noticeably. But why? Is head shaking something positive? Is it a negative? When should you be concerned? If your cat is moving that head all around during snacks and meals, this is the video for you. Interesting topic, and I've got you covered. Stay tuned. Is head shaking normal? That's really the question. The answer, so much depends on frequency and how much movement is involved. Are we talking about enjoyment or are we talking about, unfortunately, pain? I've designed today's material in a bit of a listing style, some notable causes and some notable reasons. And the first one I'd like to address involves chewing, difficulty eating. As humans, we know a bit about this one. It's fair to say that we've all had a bit of the situation, let's call it a situation, with foods and snacks here and there. I won't go through all the grocery list of possibilities, but let's say a tough steak, taffy, those foods that can give your jaws and teeth a bit of a workout that you really didn't ask for. Have you ever leaned your head to one side while trying to chew something extremely tough? Well, if your cat is having a bit of an issue, they'll give you that familiar look, shaking the head, tilting the head, in an effort to chew and also in an effort to swallow. If your cat is eating dry food or snack treats and has a bit of a mouthful, they could take a bit of a posture in order to get the job done. As for wet food, the same could apply, especially if your pet is attempting to cut through larger chunks of meat, tearing the food, pulling the meat apart, chewing and swallowing. It can be a bit of a task that could result in your cat's head bobbing left and right. And what about your cat's teeth? Your mouth, the cat's mouth, dental concerns. That's the next notable why within this topic. Here again, humans, we can relate to this one. Ever had a sensitive area in your mouth, a tooth, a gum, or even your tongue? An area that you wanted to stay out of the action during the chewing process? Have you ever made a face, let's call it, and tilted your head in an effort to avoid chewing on a specific side? Yep, I think we've all dealt with that one before. And your cat is no different. If your pet is dealing with a dental issue, whatever the issue is, this could cause some head shaking during food consumption. Gingivitis, cavities, swollen gums, ulcers, the list goes on. If the problem is painful enough, your cat could take on a different posture in order to protect a sensitive area. Or perhaps that head shaking posture is due to the fact that pain just can't be avoided and each bite creates a problem. If eating has become quite the painful task, it'll be written all over your cat's face. Whereas difficulty chewing could be just a one-off and a one-time thing, a dental issue will likely carry on beyond a single meal. If you've noticed that chewing has become a difficult chore for your cat, and they appear to be in pain, please take your cat to the vet as soon as possible in an effort to get things checked out and properly treated. And what about this one? Your cat is unhappy with the food selection. This can happen if you've introduced new food. Your cat could be shaking that head in an effort to kick that food right out. Shaking in this fashion is a sign of displeasure. If your cat goes for the food, gives a shake, and then refuses to eat more, this could be a sign that your cat just isn't sold on the new meal. Quick test, especially if you've introduced new food. Give your cat a bit of the familiar and just see what happens. If your pet eats it right up with no issue, then you can certainly make the call that it is a food problem. I think we've all seen videos of babies in high chairs being fed things they didn't like and make that strange face. Well, this isn't too far off. Now, depending on the situation and your cat's dietary needs, this could be a work in progress. A little tough love could be in order, getting your pet used to this new normal. Be patient. It could take some time, but yes, just like a baby, a cat will shake that head if the taste and the texture of the food isn't quite living up to the standard. Of course, it would be very difficult to speak about displeasure without including pleasure. Some cats, especially if they're quite hungry, they'll give a bit of a head shake if the meal is quite tasty. Does your cat eat fast? Is your cat known to start eating before you can even put all of the food in the bowl? If this is the case, some head shaking could be in order. Here again, Just like people, some felines will do a bit of a happy dance when the food is good and hits the spot. And before I turn things over to the audience, to you, the audience of Senior Cat Wellness, I'll conclude things by saying that head shaking during a meal, it could be that your cat is simply being a cat, going back to those roots, instincts kicking into high gear. Some cats, depending on the setting and what they're eating, they'll approach mealtime as somewhat of a conquest, the conclusion of the hunt. Instinctually, cats do enjoy whipping their food around a bit, for lack of a better word, playing with it, even striking it. Have you ever seen a cat carry their meal trophy in their mouth and sort of shake their head back and forth, almost as a means to strike fear in the prey, stun the prey? Yeah, it's not exactly the prettiest painting in the gallery, but we're talking about core instincts here. And depending on what your cat is eating, where they're eating, in the current environment, your pet could resort to the old school stalk, hunt, capture, and consume tactics. I guess the best example, the PG example, would be a cat or a dog, probably more along the lines in this case of a dog, actually. The dog has a toy, and then the animal will just start whipping that head around. It's quite funny to witness. Nothing is really going on, and the dog will just start to do a figure eight type motion with the toy in its mouth. Well, that motion, it's not too much unlike what some cats will do in the wild in order to subdue prey before meal time. And on that note, the ball is now in your court. To the audience of Senior Cat Wellness, does your cat give a bit of the head shakes when eating, when chewing? Has this ever been a concern to the point where a vet visit was needed? Or the head shaking, have you just never seen it at all? Your personal ownership stories and commentary, the comment section. As always, it's all yours. And if you enjoyed this content, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you as a member of the Senior Cat Wellness family. And until next time, thank you so very much for watching, and I will talk to you later.